Good afternoon and welcome along to Destination Wellbeing. My guest this afternoon is Amanda Rafferty, and Amanda will be hosting a show on Vario Destination Uri TV over the next couple of weeks along with Joanne Doyle, and they'll be chatting all things fashion and makeup, I believe. So you're very welcome to Destination Wellbeing today.
Thanks, Joanne.
And it's funny that your show's starting in the next couple of weeks because Amanda and I had attempted to organise to have Amanda in on Destination Wellbeing, I suppose maybe around about nearly whenever I first started. So and we've got there today.
Eventually,
so we eventually got there, as I know life took a bit of a journey that you'll be sharing with us as well today. But just before we begin into any deep conversations, just a reminder, viewers, to always make sure that if they have any concerns about their own health or their own well-being, that they do check in with their GP or suitably qualified medical practitioner, whether that's physical or emotional, or our mental well-being. It's always important to make sure that we're getting the right support and the right help with that, and that we don't just kind of go it alone, which, as we know, would have been important advice, certainly for yourself, Amanda. So and tell our viewers a little bit about yourself and what you do, and then we'll go into your story.
No problem. Well, as you've said, Joanne, my name is Amanda Rafferty. I am a style coach and a makeup artist. Basically what a style coach is, it's a combination of a personal stylist and a life coach. So they take a holistic approach towards fashion in that you work on the inside with your client to sort of help them feel good, whether it's confidence or self-esteem issues, and on the outside to help them look good, advising them on their body shape, what clothes suit, what clothes to avoid, the colours that work for their particular skin tone, things like that.
I don't know, you, as part of one of the programmes that I run, you had done some sessions with some of the ladies as well, and you know, even just some of the simple information that we can take away from that, because clothes can either make us or break us, can't they, sometimes? But as you say, working from the inside out as well, because we could have the most amazing outfit on, but if we feel insecure on the inside, then it really doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. And it is funny how you can see a lady who is oozing confidence. She might be just wearing a pair of jeans, a pair of ballet pumps and a t-shirt, and you'll look at her, you'll watch her because she has that air of confidence about herself. But the key thing is, you know, knowing your body shape and what works for that particular body shape, because you know, when you look good, you feel good, and when you feel good, that does have a knock-on effect with your confidence. And the thing about confidence is it's a sort of a state of mind, so you can build on it and improve it. Yeah,
we can create, and we can, as the saying goes, even with some of the laughter yoga stuff that I do, it's fake it till you make it. You can encourage it, but there's nothing like feeling good in an outfit to change that.
And it's funny, like even maybe from you were a wee girl, you were always told, right, we'll keep that for good, we'll keep that for good. But the way I look at it is, why put off, you know, to feel good? You know, if you buy something and you feel good in it, wear it every day. Whether it's you know, a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it makes no difference.
It's feeling that good inside it. And interestingly, as you say, Amanda, you know, you can see the person running about even in a pair of tracksuit bottoms, and they're just comfortable, they're confident, and they could walk on air.
Oh, completely. Or even if you go into like a room where there is a group of women gathered, and you know, the one who's the most confident may not be the prettiest, or may not have, you know, be a size 8, 10, 12, it doesn't matter, irrelevant of what size you are, may not be wearing makeup, you know, it's not necessarily the person that you imagine that would stand out, but it's, you know, confidence to me is key and is vital.
And it's about, again, you know, we're talking about, I suppose, we've talked quite a bit there about how it looks to the outside world, but it's actually as important and more important how it feels with you, and do you feel confident in that room with the room? And I remember back to at school, and I always thought, you know, the girls that in my eyes could be bothered to their makeup to get to school in the mornings, but that, you know, you thought, oh, they're so confident and they're so this and they're so that. And actually then I got to know one of the said girls, and actually what I realised was that it was because of lack of confidence.
Yes, it was the face,
so it doesn't
mask.
always, and we have, and I think particularly that's a very strong message for young girls as well, because we often find that as we're growing up, that young girls have this image of what it looks to be what it is to be confident, whereas actually it's really about being comfortable in yourself.
And it's from the inside. And like just when you're saying there about young girls, you know, my heart breaks for them because they are bombarded constantly with images of what looks, you know, this is how you're meant to look. Every newspaper, magazine, TV, the internet, it's all about these images. But the reality is they are probably airbrushed within an inch of their life.
Yeah.
And if you strip it back and actually see who the, you know, what the person looked like before, you know, the hair was thickened up and the slimmed down legs and
toned,
bigger chest and all the rest of it, it's completely different. And it's very sad. But another part with the style coaching, which they focus on, is, you know, being true to yourself and your authenticity, and realising that, you know, look at yourself and what you've got to offer. Don't be looking at whether it's the mummy at school or your sister or friend or whoever thinking, God, I wish I was like, you know, I had the long blonde hair, I was 6 foot or whatever. Focus on you and what you've got to bring to the table, whether you're an amazing friend, a fantastic cook, fantastic mummy, which we all are, even though sometimes you question yourself. But I say embrace your own authenticity and focus on that and what you have rather than what you haven't got.
Yeah. And again, that translates into style, because what's in fashion doesn't suit everybody.
Exactly.
It might suit a certain, it ticks boxes for a certain
absolutely
small percentage of the population, may we say. And then it's adapting what you like into all of that as well, isn't it?
And that's the other thing, just that you feel, don't be a victim to fashion, because again, you're bombarded with all these, right, this is what you have to have this season. You don't. If there's something, even if, like that there, as you say, if you take a wee bit from it and incorporate it into your existing wardrobe, when you know something works for you, you know, my uniform, you could say, is I just love wee blazers, skinny jeans, flat shoes or whatever during the day, and then put on a pair of heels, a wee clutch bag in the evening if you're going out or whatever. But I know it works for my particular shape. And there's things that are on trend that I would run screaming in the opposite direction away from. But you do, and we're all, you know, some women will come to me and say, oh God, I don't have a clue. We all do. The potential's there. It's just been given, you know, the tools, and it's starting from your body shape. This is what, focus on the areas that you like about yourself, draw attention to those areas and take the attention away from the areas that you don't like. Because, say for example, if you're a pear body shape or a triangle, that we call it in style coaching, you take a bigger size in the bottom. So if you're going to wear maybe jeans with embellishment on the back pockets, somebody's eye is going to be drawn straight to there, which is going to then make you feel conscious, because you know that they're looking at the area that you don't have any confidence with. So always, you know, keep that in mind, the areas that you do like, and you know,
try
focus
and
on
emphasise
those.
those.
Absolutely,
And jewellery and accessories can help with that too, because they can draw
completely.
your eye to another part of your body, or
and they just finish off an outfit as well, just completed.
they can. And it's all, as I said, a lot of it is all totally alien to me, as I come with no jewellery.
But the potential's there,
the
Joanne.
potential's there. I need to get it sorted. But life did take a very major turn for you, Amanda, earlier. Well, I suppose later last year, wasn't it, really? And stress and all of those things that women put themselves under.
Yeah. Probably the main culprit. Yes, women, we put ourselves under an awful lot of pressure. Towards the end of last year, I had taken a simple sore throat, but it was a throat infection. And of course, being women, we just keep on going, and you know, having time to stop, having time, I have to do this, I have to do this.
Busy Christmas is coming up.
Yes,
and all the things.
No, I don't have time to go to the doctor. I'll just take throat spray. Because the same thing had happened to me maybe about 6 or 7 years ago, like that, took throat spray and it went away. The same thing happened this time. It did go away, but about 5 or 6 days later, I took an excruciating pain in my tummy, and I ended up in Daisy Hill, and I had contracted strep A, which turned toxic. So my immune system, everything was obviously down, but like that, because you don't take the time to sit and just be, my immune system, everything obviously was up the left. So unfortunately, it went for the weakest part of my body at that stage, which was my ovaries. So I had to have my right ovary and fallopian tube removed, and I spent a week in Daisy Hill, 4 days in high dependency, and it was a very sort of a close call. It just came a wee bit closer than I would have liked it to come.
Too close for comfort, really.
But like that stress it's evil, Joanne. It's evil.
And you know, I mean, statistics. I was just speaking with the group this morning, and we were talking that somewhere in the statistics are showing that anywhere between 85, at least 85% of all illness, if not and higher than that, is stress related. And the stress that we put ourselves under doesn't even have to be major stuff, as we were chatting off air as well, but it's not necessarily that it even has to be major stuff, and it may not even always be life stuff that's happening. It could be stress that our body's under from the food choices that we're making. It could be stress from the constant noise pollution, all of the environmental factors as well come into play. And I would often look at stress as we've the stuff that we can't do anything about, and then we've the choices. So, and even with the stuff that we can do something about when we're in the right place, we probably can do something about most of it. But if we even break down, okay, my body's under pressure here, what stuff can I solve? What changes can I make? And I know both of us are quite passionate about for example, just chemical-free skincare. But even making a choice to that takes a wee bit of pressure off your body. And it goes, I don't have to worry about processing all of those.
I know exactly what's going on my face and
into my bloodstream.
I think it's 26 seconds or something from you put something on your skin till it's into your bloodstream.
And one of the big things with that, whenever we look at that as a stressor, is that we're what we eat, and so many times we look at what we eat and making sure that it's pure and clean and healthy. But when we look at what we eat, what we're eating goes through our digestive system, goes through our liver, which can filter out an awful lot of the toxins. What we put on our skin, as you say, is straight into the bloodstream.
And you don't, we don't think that, like as you're saying there, what you eat, you think, right, well, I'm eating healthy, I'm exercising, I'm doing all that there, but then you go and you put something on your face, or you wash your hair in a certain shampoo or whatever, and what's going in that way is as harmful as what you eat.
And that stress on the body is another piece that the body has to figure out, on top of getting the bills paid and making sure the children are okay and all of that. But we can change that one, because we can make choices with that. Whereas maybe we can't change the fact that maybe the income at home's not right, or maybe people that have a sick child at home or something like that. That bit's more difficult to control, but we've got bits that we can control.
The majority of stuff that you worry about and worry about and worry about, it doesn't actually happen. You'd be going, oh, what if? And then if you flip it over and say, well, what if, the positive end comes out. And, like, you try and be positive and, right, okay, this is going to be good or whatever. And, yes, you go so far. And there's days that you just think, right, okay. But if you can try and sort of keep upbeat and positive about the whole thing.
One of the things that whenever I'm doing workshops, I was doing with a group of young girls there a couple of weeks ago, and one of them sort of said to me, so like with all this positive thinking stuff, like do you just go about up here all the time? And I went,
no.
If only. But, and I am. I would consider myself a positive person, and having done a lot of work on myself, certainly, and in a much more all of the time, rather than the fake it till you make it. It's kind of okay. At this stage in my life, I feel like it's there. That can change, as you know, in the drop of a hat. But how I was explaining, so it sort of challenged me, because I thought, well, how do I explain that? And I thought, well, really a lot of the conscious positive thinking does is balance out the subconscious negative thinking. And as you were saying, everything's an affirmation.
Yes, which I didn't, like as we were discussing there earlier, that, you sort of think, right, well, your affirmations are all the positive things, but I didn't realise, it was just somebody had mentioned it there, it was a good few months ago, saying that every thought that you have, whether it's good or bad, is an affirmation. And it's even to become more aware of that. So when you're going, oh, I can never, and you go like, you're constantly reaffirming that then in your head, and you go, no, actually, I can.
And that's, and as adults, for us to learn that lesson's vitally important. But in the work that I do with children, funny, that was one of the themes with some of the younger ones, like 8, 9-year-olds that I was working with last week, is let's get rid of I can'ts.
Yeah.
Because as soon as we go, I can't, we've already decided we're not
Yeah.
going to do it.
Yeah.
Or that we're not capable of doing it, or we're not. Like, I had a wee girl the other day handed me a piece of paper and I'd asked them to fold it and hand it to me. She was like, I can't do folding. And I said, no, we can. Come on, I'm going to show you, and we
Yeah.
can work through it.
Yeah.
I says, and I want you to say to yourself there 10 times, I can.
Yeah.
And, you know, we were chatting
Absolutely.
through that because, what is it to say, that the two most powerful words are I am, and whatever follows them
Yes.
is what we're creating.
Well, and just when you're saying about wee kids, my middle wee girl, she's doing stuff for transfer now, and she's at the stage where, no, Ma, I can't do that. And you go, no, stop right there.
Yeah.
You can, but at the end of the day, as long as you do your best, that's all that matters.
Yeah, and and you can do it, and we're going to help you with it, and,
Yeah,
and wherever
yeah.
their direction is. So, and they're under so much
But
pressure.
it is, and as I said, it's just like kids now. Like, I'm going to sound really old, but back whenever I was a wee girl,
Yeah.
I don't know, you were a child and you were able to just run about, and there was the pressure that is just put on children now. And I say, as long as you can get them from a young age to realise, back to talking about being authentic, these are your qualities. And this is what you are brilliant at, and this is, you know, there's no reality. You're not going to be great at everything, but that's okay. It doesn't matter.
And no two people are the same.
Exactly.
But what are you good at, and can we focus on those?
And focus exactly, and not what you can't do.
yeah.
No, we can't. We're removing that from the dictionary.
Yeah, that's it. It doesn't exist anymore. I'm going to. I'll try.
Yeah.
I can.
Yeah.
I will. Or
Yes.
you know, any of those sort of things. And I think when we talk about words, one of the other one one of the other ones is I have to,
Yeah.
or I should have,
Yeah.
and we put so much
Yeah.
on that, and that in itself causes stress,
Yeah.
doesn't it? I have to do this.
Yeah. No, stress, as we say, stress
Yeah,
is
no,
not
we get rid
good,
of it.
not good.
we lose it.
But like even at that there, you know, there'd be times I would still, and I have to say, right, Amanda, just take a breath, take a step back, let it go.
Yeah.
And it's hard to let go.
It is. It's and it doesn't. It takes practice.
It
'cause
does, it does, yeah.
And it takes that catch the thought and,
Yeah.
and change it, doesn't it? Really.
It was Oprah, love Oprah.
Yeah.
She was on TV. Oh, it was actually when I was in the hospital, and I was listening to her, and she was saying like it takes 18 seconds, 17 or 18 seconds for a negative thought to embed into your brain. So if you catch yourself thinking something negative, just count from 18 down, and then it'll have gone, and then you can move on.
Right, yeah,
Yes.
that's a very useful tip. But as we said, the I have to is, again, as women, we so often, I have to do the ironing,
Yes.
I have to do this, I have to do that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I would sort of look at in terms of stress management is change that to I'm choosing to.
Yeah.
And instantly you've made a difference.
Yeah.
I'm choosing to do the ironing. Why am I choosing to do ironing?
Right.
I'm choosing to do it because I like clothes that are ironed. Because you don't have to. At the end of the
Well,
day,
that's it.
nobody, like the word, you know,
No one's actually
nobody's
making
going to
you-
arrest you. Nobody is actually making you iron your clothes. The world's not going to stop. You don't have
Yeah.
to.
I'm going to
It
say
is
that now when
always
I
a
go
choice.
home, as I open my back door
Yeah.
and the clothes are meeting me just
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
I'm choosing to iron
I'm
this.
choosing to iron them. Yeah, and you know, and instantly you've made a shift because it's
Yeah.
not a have to. It's no pressure anymore. This is my choice. I could choose not to if I
Yeah,
wanted to, and I could
yeah.
leave them there, and the ironing could sit there, and the children could go out with crinkled clothes, and I could go out with crinkled.
Yes.
And that could all happen.
I'm palpitating already. Do you want to think about that?
Imagine that happening.
Going out with crinkled clothes.
And it could happen, and people do.
Yeah.
And nobody dies, and it's
Well,
all
that's,
okay.
yeah, that's the
You know,
reality. And just when
there's
you're
that.
saying, I have to, even when you're saying it, you're going, oh, I have
It's
to
a
do
burden,
this. I
but
have to-
actually,
yeah.
yeah.
I'm choosing.
Choosing to, no
That's what I'm gonna
matter,
say from
yeah,
now on.
replace having to with choosing to, because we all know the only thing we have to do
Yeah.
is die.
Yeah, well, we don't have any
that's-
control over that.
We don't. That's the only thing. Everything else is a choice.
But I find we as women, we put so much pressure on ourselves to have it, everything right. And, you know, at the end of the day, there was a woman had said to me that when it comes to tea time, if she's had a dinner on the table, she counts herself, you know, not counts herself lucky, but she thinks she's done a great job that day. Even if the house has fallen down, she says the kids have been fed.
Yeah.
That's a big achievement to have dinner on the table at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But like that, we put so much pressure. We have the standards way up here because you think you're meant to be able to do it all,
Yeah.
and you can't. You're only one wee person. How you can possibly do it all?
And you know, there's often times, and I could be shut down very easily for saying this, but there are times when I think, you know, what has the feminist movement done for us? Because it has given, now whilst equality is important, but and that side of it is very, very important, but I just feel that certainly our generation of women are feeling more and more pressure to be everything, not just to be equal, but to be equal and more, and that we've got more and increasingly more and more pressures where we're expected to be top in our careers and the best we can do at that. We're expected to be mothers, wives, partners, or you know, whatever category we're falling into. And as you say, we're just one person.
One person that just
that's paddling now.
And like I know, I as a person, I don't ask for help very easily. I find it a bit of a struggle. And as I've said to my kids and my husband, if I'm asking for help, it means I'm literally, So, you know, there's times you're just standing going, right, I just don't know where to turn. And then, you know, you have to just, right, okay, let's just stop and start again. Because like that, the house is not going to fall down around you. As long as the reality is that everyone's happy and healthy, you know, everything else sort of falls into place.
I don't know if you noticed, there was an article that came out the other day, and it was called The New Phase of Parenting, which is CTFD. And I'll let you figure out the F one for yourselves, but it was calm down, basically.
Right, yes.
You know, that this will, provided whatever parenting style parents are and most probably more importantly aimed, not more importantly, but more likely to have been aimed at mothers, is whatever style of parenting you do will be okay. As long as children aren't being abused, everything else is okay.
I remember reading one time, which I thought was lovely. At the end of the day, if your kids see your face light up when they walk into a room, that's all they need.
They need that. They need the basic qualities. They need love, and they need to be able to love and be loved. Really, isn't that? And then I saw another one the other day, which was if. Now let me get it right. It's not what you do for your children that counts, it's what you teach them to do for themselves. And I thought, doesn't that take an awful lot of pressure off?
It does, actually. Anything that takes pressure off.
It's not tidying their room that makes them a better person. It's teaching them to do it themselves. Or and I thought,
become independent
adults. It's the independent adults. And, you know, again, we only as, you know, you would see there at different stages where children are really only the product of parents.
Completely, it's learned behaviour.
You see, you know, boys that won't do anything. And it's because mothers have mollycoddled them and taught them and created the husband that somebody else is going to have to deal with.
Honestly, like even I would say, James, my eldest lad, my eldest son, well, it's my only son, he would come in and go, like he's coming 13, Mummy, what am I wearing today? Go and pick something. Oh, no, would you not? Go and pick something out. And then 2 minutes later, I'm in picking. I'm not doing him any favours and I'm not doing myself any favours. Whereas my youngest one, who's 6, she would just go and pick clothes.
Miss Independent.
Even though you look and think, right, okay, well.
That's what you chose today.
Yes.
That's okay.
And then she said, there was was one day last week, and she was saying, Mummy, this is what I'm going to wear. And I said, well, she wore what you had on yesterday. I can't wear the same thing 2 days in a row. And I'm looking at her going, what? And then the voice in my head going, Amanda, this is what you've created. Because, you know, so I can't really say anything.
And it's getting the balance and, you know, and recognise that we don't need to be perfect either. We just, as you say, need to.
But sure, it'd be very boring if we were perfect.
If we were all perfect, or all the same. We'd have a boring
very
world.
Boring.
But I think we can, this was taking it back even to the stress stuff, there is a lot of stress that we can take on unnecessarily, that we don't really need to be carrying at all. So,
and then there's also probably people, in a way, it's not that they thrive on the stress, but they need to have the drama around them. And to tell them as well, no, you don't need to have the drama. Humdrum life is pretty good. It's pretty good.
It can be good.
Yeah.
And then there's other people, and then again, that goes back to the difference as well, because you have a very different makeup to me and to somebody else. So what annoys you might not annoy me, and what annoys me, you could sail through. And so it's all of those things. And it's I know whenever we were chatting, we were talking about how it doesn't have to be any major things. It can be just a collection of small stuff, and a run up of a difficult year can all hit it.
But it's scary in a way how it can happen just so quick like that. You can be just going on and on and on, and then literally, without any signs, any warnings, you're taken off your feet. Where you have to, like just saying about the mummies, that whenever after my operation and I was taken back up onto the high dependency ward, and when it was sort of coming around, my first thought was, oh, the uniforms aren't washed. And I'm lying there going, nurse, I couldn't really move, but nurse, my uniforms aren't washed. And she's, Amanda, I think that's the least of your concerns, that the uniforms aren't washed. No, but you don't understand. And you're thinking, even then, to switch off. But, and then there was nothing I could do. I had to just lie there. I can't.
And that's sometimes we're just forced to surrender to and to accept help.
Yes, and just hand it over.
Yeah, and just let it. Because when we're not jumped, sometimes when we don't jump, we are pushed.
Yeah.
And one of the big things would be, obviously, prevention's better than cure. So a lot of the time when people decide, that they're going to maybe take themselves to get their nails done, or go for reflexology, or do whatever, or go for a massage, or go to a relaxation class, whatever it is that they've decided to do, there can be a wee bit of, I don't deserve this time out. The guilt that comes in at that.
And that sort of defeats the purpose, because you're going and you're getting it done, but yet there's that wee voice in your head going, right, you haven't time to do, look at this. But my wee treat to myself is every Friday I go and get my hair done, because I can't do my own.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit like
my
that
excuse.
too. Mine,
And, there is even times yet that there will be a voice saying, Amanda, why are you doing this? You could be doing something else. But then you go, no, it's important to have that me time. Whether it is, getting your hair done, whether it is going and sitting reading a book for, even if it's 10 minutes, something to just take you out of the rat race for
something
a wee
that's your space and your wee bit of self-care.
Oh, completely. Vitally important.
So important. And thankfully, I think we are waking up to the importance of that. That it's necessity. Sometimes it's not luxury.
I know it is. I can't agree more. It's so important to have that me time. And I know there'll be different women who go, me time? What's me time? But you have to make that me time. And there is, that 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes in the day that you just stop whatever you're doing, whether it is the ironing or whatever, that you just take yourself away from it. It's still going to be there when you go back. It's not going to go anywhere.
It's not going to go anywhere, no.
But it's vital for you to have that.
Yeah, and like that too, with bigger stressors, as I said, maybe mortgages or difficulty works or family relationship problems, any of that sort of stuff, with those bigger issues, they're still there.
Yeah.
Possibly as well. Sometimes taking time out can give you a slightly different perspective on it, so you can maybe see things a wee bit differently. But most of the time they're still there, but your body's had a break.
Yeah.
It's had a chance to just
recharge and say, right, okay, I can get back in, and because then like that you keep going, and then something has to give.
And then and then we look at the importance of making sure that we're getting the right food in as well, so that we can't run a car on empty, and the analogy's used all the time, but we can't, and it needs serviced, and it needs checked up, and it needs all of these things, and I think that sometimes maybe that's where our medical service could have a stronger role there, in the prevention's better than cure. So in the way that we go to the dentist every 6 months, or we're encouraged to, because we don't go because we all have holes in our teeth. We go to make sure that we don't get them. And I think that approach to a visit to the doctor, or where you go and you check the blood pressure, get the tests done.
Yeah.
Not saying to have to come away with a prescription the length of your
Yes.
arm or anything like that, but actually, can I go? Is there, can I go in and can I get an MOT check over?
Well, that's it, because like that, you go to the dentist, you take your car for the MOT every year, but yourself,
We
you
don't do it, yeah. And, for me, most often, I mean, the teeth's the cosmetic bit, isn't it, really? I mean, bar, obviously, they help us to eat, and it's important that we've got good mouth hygiene from that
Yeah.
perspective. But really, and we obviously don't want any decay in teeth or anything in there with the bacteria and the problems that can cause. But for me, it's more important to make sure that on a 6-monthly basis, my blood pressure's good,
Yes.
my blood sugars are good, my kidney function's good, and that I'm working through that.
Yeah.
And then that we also look at making sure that emotionally we're okay and that we're not holding on to emotions and not letting them clear, or not getting in touch with that side of ourselves
completely.
as well.
It's like everything else, it builds up, it builds up, it builds up, and then
Pressure cooker.
yes, there's an explosion.
I would use the analogy sometimes that taking time out, maybe going for reflexology or Reiki or massage, it's like, for some people, depending on where we are, sometimes we're here, we're sort of low here, and we need it to take us to an equal sense of balance in our lives. And then there's another time when we're here and it can take us to here.
Yes.
And it's using it for both of those. So if life is okay, it's
Yeah,
still okay
exactly.
to take your time out and to do whatever you need. We don't need to wait until life is tough or difficult.
Yes, before you start
To do it, which is what a
back
lot
to
of
the
us do.
prevention better than cure,
Cure,
because then you don't get down to that rock bottom.
Yeah, you keep it here. Another one that I would be familiar with using is, it's like if a saucepan's about to boil over and we just lift it off for a second, it calms straight away. So as you say, the pressure cooker can explode, but as it's bubbling and boiling away, 1 second can be enough. 5 minutes to 10 minutes can be enough to let it calm
down,
to let you go back and do whatever you have to face.
Yeah, but even like those, the emotions and all that there, and when it gets to that stage, and all these emotions come out, and all these reasons, and you're not actually, it's like a whole muddle of stuff, because you don't actually know what the issue is or what the problem is. It's just a whole big mismatch. Yeah, it's a problem. You're going, where do I turn? Where do I
It's
turn?
like, often one of the things that I would hear, you maybe hear somebody talking about, God, that man never said a bad word, never said a cross word, never done this, never done that. And then you hear, but he has stomach cancer, or he's took a heart attack or something.
Yeah.
And the stress of all, he may have been the most placid, easy going person, but that's not natural either.
No,
We've all got we have to let out what we're feeling, because I'm sure the most placid, easy person has been hurt possibly more.
Yes, because they haven't, like my husband, he would be very easygoing, calm, but he would have psoriasis. And I would maybe react a lot quicker. If something's annoying me, it's out. Which I keep saying, I think that's better for you. It's healthier to get it out.
Yeah.
But, he would be very easygoing, laid back, and then you'll see the psoriasis appear, and he's going, no, everything's fine. You're going, that's telling me a different story.
Yeah.
So verbalise it.
But even in that sense, funny, I just had this conversation with somebody the other day, and they were actually saying that they were glad they had allergies because they weren't a very expressive person, but at least it came to the surface.
Yeah.
In one way, shape or form, it wasn't internal.
Yeah.
So that was their way of looking at it. And I thought, that is a difference. They were actually seeing the positive of having it come externally, because internally they were pretty healthy and they had all their checks done. Obviously, you can never tell exactly what's going on. But I thought that was an interesting angle on looking at that too, that it's much better out than in, and at least it's on the surface in a shape or form. So.
But you'd imagine, like, somebody that is really, really calm, they often say that once the right button is pushed, they're even worse than somebody who...
Totally, unless we're looking at maybe people that have transcended it completely and they just genuinely don't feel.
They're never phased.
They're just not phased, and they're not burying it, but they're not expressing it either, and that's a state of zen.
It's like
that
everything
we can all,
else. It's a balance of everything. It's a balance of work, balance home, as well. Even time together with your kids, your partner, time with your friends. You need to have a sort of
balance.
Because your kids, for example, or your husband, partner, whatever, you need time together, but you also need time apart, and that's not a bad thing.
No.
Because you know, if you're with somebody 24/7,
It's
That's not healthy.
It's not healthy. No,
No.
it is balance and it's time and it's space.
Yeah.
Well, Amanda, we could talk all day here. Thank you.
I'm here for the night.
We're
I'm
here,
just-
yeah. Feet up, and we'll do some reflexology. We'll get you a blanket and stuff.
Oh,
You can stay
thanks.
for the evening. But we've come to the end of our show, and I hope you've enjoyed being on, and
Thank
I
you,
certainly
yes.
enjoyed the conversation. And I think there'll be plenty of food for thought in there for some of our viewers this afternoon. So I hope you've also enjoyed the show. And you can reach Amanda back to the style coaching bit of things
Yes,
and the
yeah.
fashion.
Yeah.
That'll be out on Friday coming up on Destination Wellbeing or Destination Fashion. And we'll be looking forward to seeing lots of hints and tips
Yes,
over
yes.
for the spring and summer seasons now. And thank you very much for all to our viewers watching in. I'll be in with Rowan on Thursday morning to chat a bit more, and we look forward to seeing you on Destination Wellbeing next week. Coming up on our show next week, I have two parents who have had children with autism and have looked at it sort of a holistic approach, taking in all of the traditional route but also embracing some holistic therapies and that have helped their children to get to fulfill their full potential, really. So we've an interesting show coming up next week.
yeah.
Thank you very much.